Hey there, second grade scientists. I was just doing some research before you got here. I'm so excited you're back. As you know, I'm Miss Haverstick, and we're here to finish talking about living things. That's what we've been focusing on in science. We know that living things grow and reproduce. Living things, they need four basic needs. They need water, food, shelter and space, and air. And we also have learned that living things have life cycles. They're all born, they get a little bit bigger and bigger, and then they reproduce. Their cycle repeats over and over and over. Now, part of being able to grow and reproduce, and part of being able to go through that life cycle when you have your four basic needs, is adaptations. That's what we talked about last time. Adaptations are those characteristics of living things that help them to survive in their environment. Now, I've been wondering, what happens if a living thing can't adapt? What if the environment changes so much that the living thing can't adapt in time? Then what? Second grade scientists, if you haven't already, grab that curious brain. We gotta figure this out. I'm gonna get mine. Okay, I have my curious brain, and I've been doing some research. I was thinking, well, what's a living thing that I don't see anymore? What's a living thing that maybe wasn't able to adapt? What happened? And I immediately thought of dinosaurs. Show me your dinosaur face in the screen. Kind of scary like these guys. Now, here's the thing about dinosaurs. We definitely don't see dinosaurs like this guy walking around anymore. At least I don't. Do you? No way. Dinosaurs are extinct. Now, extinct. Whenever we get a new definition of a fancy science word, it's always so good to write it down. If you want, grab your notebook, use your curious brain, and write down the definition of extinct with me. When a species is extinct, that means it's no longer in existence. Extinct, extinct means a species, that means a living thing. A species no longer exists. So here's what happened with dinosaurs. They have gone extinct. We don't see dinosaurs walking around anymore like they used to. Way back so many years ago, there were dinosaurs walking around the world, but we don't see dinosaurs anymore. Now, the story about dinosaurs' extinction isn't necessarily all about adaptation. Animals, species, they go extinct for a lot of reasons. And sometimes plants, animals, living things, they no longer exist. They disappear forever because they aren't able to adapt. They aren't able to change their characteristics so that they can survive in their environment. So, is your curious brain working so hard? Because I know mine is. How do we even know about species that are extinct? How do you think we figure out what these species are like if they're not right here in front of us to study them? How in the world can we learn about an extinct animal? An animal, a species, a living thing that's no longer alive, something that doesn't exist anymore. How can we know it if we can't see it? Well, let me read you some of my research. This book has been teaching me so much about dinosaurs. I have a couple other books here too. It's always so helpful to check out our library to do research on something that we want to learn more about. So let me read to you what I have learned about dinosaurs. Even though we don't have dinosaurs walking around us anymore, we do have something called fossils. Check it out. Fossils have been found all over the world, but they're not easy to recognize, and they're often discovered by accident, perhaps following construction work. Lots of fossils have been found, but for every fossilized dinosaur, hundreds and thousands have died, decayed, and left no trace. That means we can't find some of them. Fossilization requires certain conditions. The word fossil comes from the Latin word fossilis. It means dug up. So people, just like these guys right here, it's their job. They work as archaeologists and paleontologists. They dig up fossils in the ground. And fossils, well, these are fossils. Fossils can be totally preserved. They could be semi-preserved. They could be petrified, natural mold, a natural cast, or trace fossil. Basically, these guys dig in the ground. Men and women who work as archaeologists and paleontologists search all over the world, digging into rock, mountains, ground to find dinosaur bones. When they do that, it looks like this. Here we see a road map. This shows us what has happened over the years to dinosaurs. Fossils, those bones and different things that they find in the ground, fossils may form when animal or plant matter is buried soon after death under mud or sand. However, that's just the beginning of a process that takes millions of years. So it takes a really long time for fossils to form. And it makes sense that we have fossils of dinosaurs, a species that is extinct because dinosaurs died millions of years ago. Here we see some archaeologists and paleontologists digging in the dirt, searching for fossils. They search in mountains, and look what this one found. Wow. Oh my goodness. So they have found masses of bones. Certain places are rich in dinosaur fossils. In some areas, dinosaurs may have been drowned in floods, and others, they look like they were caught in traps where many dinosaurs died at about the same time. We can learn a lot from these dinosaur traps. What's been found? Paleontologists, those people who look for dinosaur bones and study them, paleontologists studied one dinosaur trap in Utah and discovered more than 10,000 bones. They believe the plant eaters stopped to drink at a lake and were trapped in the deep mud. Predators were trapped when they approached predators were trapped when they approached in the hope of an easy meal. Wow. And so when paleontologists work to find these dinosaur bones, these fossils, then they study them. It's their job to study what dinosaurs were like when they existed, before they went extinct. Now, dinosaurs have gone extinct because there was so many massive things that happened that made it impossible for them to stay alive. They didn't even have the chance to adapt. But here's the thing. Other living things, things that grow and reproduce, they adapt. They have those characteristics that help them to stay alive. But even still, sometimes some living things can't adapt. And if a whole species can't adapt, if something goes wrong in their environment that makes it impossible for them to stay alive, they might go extinct. They might disappear forever. The good news is we can use the skills of archaeologists and paleontologists, people who dig in the ground to find those bones and study them. We can use their knowledge to learn about species that have gone extinct. We can learn about what they were like when they were alive and could still grow and reproduce, what their life cycle was like and how it repeated over and over, and about adaptations. So this week, we're going to be talking about species that are extinct, animals and plants, living things that have disappeared forever. We're going to see that sometimes living things can't adapt. They don't have the right kinds of adaptations to stay alive. But we can study species that are still alive and fossils to learn about what these animals, these plants were like when they were alive. I can't wait to keep learning about living things and things that have gone extinct with you, second grade scientists. This has been a great start, and I'm so glad I got to share some of my research with you. After you finish watching this video, make sure you hop onto Google Classroom and put your knowledge to work. You're going to have to answer a question. Are dinosaurs living things, or are they extinct? Think about it. Do you see dinosaurs walking down the street? After you answer that question, you get to be an archaeologist and a paleontologist. You dug up some bones and now put them all together to be in a museum. Put that dinosaur back together and make an awesome museum example. I hope you have a lot of fun, and I can't wait to keep learning about this with you. I'll see you later, second grade scientists.